In this video, I am starting a brand new oil painting and I'm going to show you the preliminary sketch that goes underneath the entire oil painting. So I'm working very lightly with light lines with a charcoal pencil to establish the initial measurements and blocking in shapes. So what I'm doing is looking at my reference and then I am just taking measurements. I'm trying to figure out exactly how large or small or placement of every object that I'm putting within the painting. I am working to just make initial marks. There's no fine detail in this yet. It's just giving basic information on where things are placed. So I'm not super concerned about exact lines. I am just getting visual cues. I'm also looking for the lightest and darkest areas of this painting. And from my reference, I'm looking for the values. And rather than shading anything in right now, I am just establishing where those shadow shapes are at. Shadow shapes are, in fact, just the shapes that are created by the shadows or the highest values, the brightest lights. And you're looking to just turn those into these abstract shapes. You're not looking to define the eyelashes and the hairs and the creases in all of the fabric. You're looking for those abstracted shapes that indicate the value range for this piece. Something important that most artists do during this stage of initial measurement and blocking in is simplification. You are taking a very complicated final composition or reference, and you are refining it down to the most important visual information that you can. So as you can see, as I'm working, I actually did not simplify enough on my initial sketch. This is something I still struggle with, even though I know the information. So I have to push myself to simplify my initial sketches even more and take it back down to those basic geometric shapes to establish placement. So I should technically not even be able to recognize those as cloud shapes yet, or any of those recognizable shapes. So as I go, I improve. I do really well some days and I make things overcomplicated other days. I think it's very indicative of the way that my brain works and just working on the discipline of simplification. Just so you know, this is not the only way to initiate a painting. Not everyone goes in and sketches underneath their painting with charcoal. I don't always do this either. I usually bounce between just jumping straight in with the underpainting first layer, or, if my composition is pretty complex, sometimes I do go ahead with my charcoal and block it in. So this small painting is eventually going to become a much larger composition, so I would refer to this actually as a study, even though it will be a fully finished out oil painting. So I'm doing a lot of problem solving with this piece. I've created the initial sketch composition myself off of the canvas. I've added color in, I've got my references. Now I'm working on the canvas board, which is the second sort of step of problem solving. And once I get to the end of this composition, when this study is totally done, it will give me some really great feedback as to whether this composition is visually strong enough or needs to have some significant adjustments made. Now on to the final observations and adjustments, and this is where I go ahead and fix any of the initial drawing mistakes that I made. I move items around, correct measurements, and prep it for the beginning of the painting stage.